Welcome to La Vida Rosa. I'm your host Pinky, and today we're going to be talking about Married at First Sight. So if you'd like to see more, then just stay tuned, like, comment, and subscribe. And without further ado, let's get into this video. So this episode was a little bit less excruciating than the others. Still, please, let's rush decision day. I believe we have one more episode before decision day. Y'all can double it up next week. We tired once again, okay? I'm going to start with Chris and Nicole. Why does it feel like when Chris and Nicole are having conversations, it's 90% of Nicole talking? Either she's talking about how much she loves and cares about Chris and how well he treats her, or she's down talking herself, or she's nagging Chris about one thing or another. It just feels so exhausting anytime they're having a conversation, which always comes off as one-sided. She brings up the fact that they have safe words, which we really haven't heard them discuss safe words since the honeymoon, so I don't know why this came up, but Chris told her, you told me to have a safe word because in the past people have told you that you were too much, but you're not too much to me, so we don't even need safe words. If I feel like you're doing too much, I'm just going to tell you. Later on, she's on the phone with her father talking about being irritated about how chill Chris is being with their whole living situation. Now, I kind of see where Nicole is coming from now. On the trip, that would have irritated me because it's like, okay, you're constantly nagging me about this. We're on vacation. I don't feel like doing it. But we're home now, and Chris already said in the beginning that he wanted them to keep their own separate apartments. So at this point, it's just coming off as if you just want to keep y'all separate apartments. And it's like, I don't want to move backwards. We know we want to be together. Let's have a decision made. She wants to have a definitive plan, and she wants him to have taken a step forward by decision day, and I don't blame her. Let's move on to Jasmine and Aries. Once again, they have nothing but awkward energy, no chemistry whatsoever. It really is the lack of eye contact. I mean, we've been saying it the whole season, but y'all still can't look at each other in your eyes. Like, y'all have these conversations that are supposed to be deep and y'all supposed to be getting to know each other, and y'all don't even be looking at each other. Like, how can you possibly become closer or have an intimate conversation without looking at each other? Like, I can't imagine being with my partner and we're having a deep conversation and he won't even look at me. Either look at me or I'm leaving. Like, what's the point? Her and Gina end up taking a pole dancing class, and this is supposed to, you know, bring out some sexy energy with their partners because their husbands don't find them attractive. We'll get to Gina. That is more so true for Aries. He ends up coming to the class, and he was getting on my nerves because I felt like his eyes were more so looking at Gina and the instructor, and I was feeling some type of way about that because he never ceases to disappoint. But there is a point where she does a little dance for him, and it's just them two, and he does encourage it. He throws the little fake dollars at her or whatever. I still didn't get anything from it. Then they went home and they had their little sexy basket. It's supposed to increase the intimacy between these two. And, you know, they're tickling each other with flowers. He's massaging her feet. You know, he likes to be handcuffed apparently, and she's massaging his back while he's handcuffed. And he also wants her to be a dominatrix and slap him in the face harder, no harder than that. She could barely stomach it. She keeps laughing and giggling. You could tell she's very uncomfortable with it, but he's good. Slap me harder. Look me in my eyes and slap me. Y'all, all of it was so uncomfortable. I just could not take any of it seriously. Finally, they went to a psychic. She told her that she needs to be patient with him. He has more growing to do. But earlier in the session, she told her that she needs to focus on herself. Which one is it? Poor thing, just being drugged around to decision day, getting told bad advice after bad advice. Let's move on to Clint and Gina. So we see Clint and McKinley, who was married to Dominique at the beginning of this season, hanging out. And, you know, Clint is just basically letting him know that they're kind of like in a friend zone situation. They're not really romantically attracted to one another. And, you know, McKinley is shocked by that. He can't believe it because both of them are attractive people. But then he goes on to say that he thinks that he has more in common with Gina, and he knows for a fact that both of them find each other attractive. How do you know that for a fact? Like, how do you know that? So that's red flaggish. Okay, we're gonna see next episode this progress more, but you know, he goes on to say that he wishes they would have been matched together, and he feels like it would have worked out had they been. And it's like, why are you hanging out with her husband then? Even if you are hanging out with a person from a couple that didn't make it, nothing wrong with that. Why Clint of all people? You just look extremely shady. It just feels like a very trifling moment, and I can't wait to see what it leads to next episode. It's promising to be dramatic, but you never know with Married at First Sight. They love to preview things and then it falls flat. So then we see Clint go get his hair cut. I'm wondering why she didn't cut his hair. Are you not someone that consistently talks about your salon over and over and over and over? You just can't get enough of talking about it. I feel like this would have been a natural way to show off your skills and kind of integrate your salon in there. Out of all the times that you have done that, I feel like it was a missed opportunity. You should have been the one to cut his hair, but maybe her specialty is not in men's haircuts. So she did take him to a barber. Turns out Clint has been cutting his hair for 8 years. He's a DIY king. I'm not mad at it necessarily because I'm someone who loves to do my own hair as well, but I think it is time for Clint to switch it up. You are an attractive guy and you should get an up-to-date haircut. He was a good sport about it though. He allowed the man to do what he wanted to do. You know, he still wanted to keep some of the length. The guy was like, I'm going to take you from Jesus to Bradley Cooper. I could see it. I kind of wish though Clint would just have let him take some more off. I wish they would have just like tapered it all the way around and give him like one of those cuts. He still has some length to pull it to the side. I would love to see something like really like up to date on him. But you know, the cut was decent. Gina liked it and he did too. Then they meet up with the expert. Dr. Pepper had the nerve to get mad that they didn't watch Driving Miss Daisy. Like, Dr. Pepper, don't nobody want to watch that. Don't nobody want to watch that with their partner. I don't know how that's going to encourage any type of intimacy. But then again, she gave y'all an assignment and it kind of shows that y'all have not been putting in any type of work when it comes to this marriage. I could understand why more so on Clint's part, but we'll get to that. So Pastor Cal brought up the fact that at their wedding, that's the time where they did the most physical touch. I mean, they were kissing, they were touching, they were all on each other. He was like, well, was that fake? Was that real? Both of them said it was more so the expectation. You know, their families were there to see them get married. I'm sure drinking had a part in that too. And they were just swept up in the moment. I feel like Clint just went along with her answer because that's just the easiest thing for him to do. They kept going on and on about this. I felt like they were badgering them about the romantic attraction. If it's not there, it's not there. Stop trying to make them be attracted to each other. I forgot how they got on the topic, but Gina brought up the fact that she was embarrassed of his crash jokes. He likes to be the life of the party. He's kind of like the class clown type of energy when they're out. And she says basically it's embarrassing for her. Also, she felt like he never pursued her. She never felt like a wife in this relationship. Pastor Cal was like, well, if he did pursue you, would you have accepted his advances? And she's just like, I don't know. He just never did it. Clint came in trying to defend himself a little bit like, you know, I do make an effort to try to cook for her. She's like, well, I think you just like to cook. It's not necessarily for me. The experts asked her, well, what could he have done? And she was like, basically, she didn't even know. She didn't even have an answer for that. Basically, she's saying she wants him to be intentional as a husband, but she never was intentional as a wife. What did you do to go above and beyond to make Clint feel loved or Clint feel like his wife cared about him? Or what did you do? Because even I remember Dr. Pepper telling you, well, since he likes to cook all the time, why don't you take out the time to cook for him? That's something to show that you care. And I don't know, like, I felt like they were really letting her get away with, you know, kind of dumping all the responsibility on him. Dr. Pepper tried to kind of check her a little bit. Clint took responsibility for his part in not stepping up in their relationship, but he was very caught off guard because she had never mentioned, you know, the thing about him being goofy in public or the fact that she didn't feel pursued. Like, he felt completely caught off guard and thrown under the bus. He felt some type of way because he thought they were on the same page the whole time. This is why I feel like a lot of the time he'll let Gina say what's on her chest and he'll just back her up. I don't think he's actually saying how he feels about Gina, because he's saving face. He doesn't want to look like he's more involved than she is. You know, the Jasmine and Aris dynamic. But I kind of wish he would have been honest, because now she's making it seem like you never tried. Anyway, I don't care. We know they're going to say no on decision day, so there's no point in even being emotionally involved. So finally, let's talk about Shaquille and Kirsten. So we finally see Kirsten with a family member, her brother. So they sat down and went out to eat to discuss her relationship with Shaquille. And she basically told him that she feels like they're not having enough intentional conversations about the future. And she just doesn't really feel emotionally connected or affectionate with Shaq. And based off what she told her brother, he basically said that, you know, he just has a lot of hands in different pots, whether it's his mentoring or him working, and now he's married. It's kind of hard for him to find a balance, and he has to find that if he wants his marriage to be successful. On her end, she needs to step up and involve him with her family. And that's what she did this episode, or attempted to. At one point she said that she was going to get him to meet her dad, and he was like, well, you better make sure it's real if you have him meet the dad. And I'm like, why would she not want her father to meet her husband? He already didn't show up to the wedding. He could at least meet him now. And they're just making the dad seem like he's just this big booger bear. Like, Shaq wants to meet him. The energy around the father and how they talk about the father is just weird every single time to me. So later on, Shaq ends up making her breakfast, and they discuss her inviting her family over. And Shaq asked her, like, do they want to meet me? Because they've never made time. According to Kirsten, they've never made time to see him because they're always working, and I have a working family, and it's just been hard to schedule. Mind you, I understand. People work. It's not like y'all have to line up the schedules where everybody has to come together at the same time and meet him. But maybe in different instances, maybe your brother can meet one night and y'all can have a game night with him and his wife. Or maybe you can invite your mother over at this time. Y'all can have dinner or go out to eat. Like, I don't think it had to be all at once. I do feel like Kirsten was keeping her family away from Shaq. And, you know, Shaq was asking her, was it them or was it you holding them back? And like I said, I feel like it was her, but she's using scheduling as an excuse because after 2 months, y'all couldn't find the time to do that. Shaq really thinks it's weird, but on the other end, Shaq needs to understand that everybody's family dynamic is different. You might understand when you meet them why she don't be around them like that, or why they don't hang out all together like that. You never know. You don't know. Some people are volatile when their family gets together, and some people don't have a lot of family to get together. You also have to be sensitive to that fact. So once they get off that topic, she brings up the fact that basically he's been very standoffish lately. He'll come home, barely speak, don't give her no hug or kiss. When they were sitting there, she was just folding clothes. He's all in his phone. They're eating dinner together. He's all in his phone, not really paying attention to her. Mind you, they had all of the security footage to prove and back up everything Kirsten was saying. He basically said he didn't even realize he was doing that because she never brought that up to him. And I don't know, Shaq. I feel like you know you've been acting stank. I feel like you know it. Like I've been feeling this entire time. I feel like now Kirsten is in the place where she's willing to open up. He even said this when he met with her mom later on in the show, that, you know, he spent all this time helping her break down her walls, but was he using those same bricks to build his back up? And I feel like that's exactly what happened. I feel like he's resentful because of the fact that he had to help her break down those walls. And now he's being petty. And I don't think it's as subconscious as he's leading it on to be, because Shaq is very aware of his emotions. He's very emotionally intelligent. And I don't think he's not doing those things on purpose. I feel like he's being very passive aggressive, and he wants to make Kirsten work for his affection the way that he had to work for hers. Later on in the episode, we see them go to a church, and y'all, the energy around this whole scene was so weird and slightly performative, because they were going to church, but the church was empty. Why are y'all in the church house talking about wanting to go to church and nobody else is in there, or it's just a random day? It just didn't make any sense, y'all. But I'm not mad at them wanting to put God first and wanting to go to church every Sunday, and him talking about how he grew up in church and this is not something that anyone forced him to do. It's something that he wants to do. He wants their foundation of their relationship, of their marriage, to be rooted in God. And I'm not mad at that at all. It would have been different if like Pastor Cal was there counseling them or something. It was just odd to me, y'all. So then we get to the day where he's supposed to meet her family. The brother couldn't come because he was working, child. Her mother ended up showing up late. I don't know if she was lost, but Shaq had to go out there and get her. Didn't this happen on the wedding day as well? The mama, either the mama can't follow directions or she just be late, child. So then they had the conversation earlier about him having up his walls after helping her take down her walls. And the mother basically told him both of them needs to let their expectations go. And she said that love comes from living and not expecting. And I thought that was like words of wisdom. I actually really enjoyed that from the mother, because a lot of times, you know, in relationships, especially in this situation, of course you're gonna have these immediate expectations, and if the person doesn't do what you want right then and there, you know, you're feeling some type of way. And I do think Shaq is being very uptight, because literally Kirsten can't do anything right these days. Even though he says he wants to grow, and they're growing and they're growing, that's his favorite thing to say, that they're growing. But are we growing together? Are we growing individually? Relax a little bit and allow things to happen. But anyway, y'all let me know what y'all think down below. Do you agree with me? Do you not agree with me? I would love to hear your opinion, and I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in my next one. Peace.